Okay, can everybody hear me? Hmm. Can anyone hear me? Let me know in the comments below if you can hear me. All right, wonderful. All right, thank you. Sorry for the delay. The YouTube live stream just wanted to give me an error tonight for some reason. So I wanted to thank you all very much for joining this live stream. As you all know, Hurricane Helene has been absolutely devastating to the region where North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Tennessee all come together, as well as lots of devastation in Florida again. Uh, and I really wanted to try and do something about that, partially because I live in North Carolina, so it means a lot to me, but because lots of people in the region need help. And honestly, it doesn't seem like a whole lot of organizations are doing a lot for them. So I did some research and I really wanted to try to find a reputable, boots on the ground organization that was really doing things there, not some giant nonprofit that keeps all of the money basically for themselves for administration costs. I want people that are actually boots on the ground, delivering food, delivering medical supplies that are actually there for the people that are in need. And Operation Airdrop, they're linked through YouTube, so they allow us to have a fundraiser for them right here over YouTube. And I think that is absolutely freaking amazing that we can do that. Um, and I promise you, I will never beg for money from you for anything regarding myself or my family or anything like that. But this is an extreme circumstance where I'm asking everybody that possibly has the means to donate to please do so. And YouTube has a good platform for this. Apparently, whatever you donate through this platform is supposed to go right through the charity, and YouTube even covers the administration fees, which is great. So it never touches my hands. I have this scheduled to end Monday evening into Tuesday. I don't want the donations going on for days, because if the donations go on for days, then they'll wait in limbo, and the people need them now. And usually these live streams they die off after about 24 hours. So whatever we can raise now and in the few hours afterwards, the fundraiser will automatically close, and then hopefully it will get to the people that need them as soon as possible. So what I'm hoping is that I can do an Ask Me Anything session. I'll try to go for about 90 minutes until about 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I will answer as many questions as I possibly can, and I'm hoping that you'll trade me a couple bucks for a response for your question or something like that. It's pretty much all I'm good for. So hopefully we can all do our best to help the people that really need it. And for all of you out there donating anything you can, thank you so much. Even if it's a nickel, if it's a dollar, it doesn't matter. That's a dollar more than they have right now. So I'm going to do my best to try to follow along here. And and just for the record, my area is totally fine. So I live in Wilmington, North Carolina, and we were mostly spared from the storm. So don't worry about me or my family. We don't need any help. We're great. There are plenty of other people that need way more help than we do, and that's what this is all about, folks. All right, I'm going to try to run through and start answering questions. Can my jalapeno plant recover from a hurricane if it lost its leaves, and what should I do to help it grow? Yes, absolutely, provided that the roots are still healthy and that the stems are still healthy, and you have enough growing season left for it to recover. So if you live, say, in Florida where you don't get frost or freeze, you can simply cut back the plants, cut them back to like a chalice form, to where they're about 12 inches high or so, and then hit them with some kind of fertilizer full of nitrogen, like Alaska fish fertilizer or like a water soluble 20-20-20. And what that will do is that will jumpstart new growth. It's going to take probably about 30 days of growth before they start flowering again, and then another 30 or 45 days to produce the fruit. So if you're 60 to 90 days from frost, you probably can do that. If you're going to get frost within the next 60 or 90 days, it's probably not going to do anything for you. You would have to dig it up and basically move it over to a pot and then overwinter it at that point. I donate to Samaritan's Purse. I just want to let everybody know that when I originally set up this fundraiser, I tried to set it up for Samaritan's Purse, but they are not eligible through YouTube. Because I know that they're based in Boone, North Carolina. They're pretty local to me, but unfortunately, I was not able to do so. So if you would like to donate to Samaritan's Purse, you have to do it directly to them. I did enable ads on this stream. So whatever ad revenue I collect from this live stream, I will donate probably to them or some other organization that I know is local and boots on the ground. That way I can spread the money from this live stream over to multiple hands. So I picked Operation Airdrop because they were eligible through YouTube, and they're doing absolutely fantastic things for the area right now, and they are really there delivering food to the people that need it. Yes, from Nan Scram. Yes, don't forget that any charitable contributions that you make are tax deductible, so please keep a receipt so you can write them off. Thurston Howell. Great show. I've been stuck there, shoulder high flooding. If any of you are in the area and you have communications and you can tell us what's going on, it's been tough to get information. So tell us your story. What grow light should I use for my jalapeno plant? Have you used a brand that was good quality and price? Yeah, it's probably a little hard for you to see, but over there, I have my grow lights that I actually have working on my my seedlings that I'm growing right now. So I have them linked in my Amazon storefront. So if you go to my Amazon storefront in any of my video descriptions, you can. It's located in there under the seed starting location. Sorry for messing up my camera. Charlotte, North Carolina, soil like you. How much gallons or how often do we water fruit trees weekly? I don't water any of my established fruit trees once they've been in ground for 3 or 4 years, except for my figs because they get really bad rust when we get our dry spells in the summer when it gets hot and dry. For your potted fruit trees, I usually have to water them every single day. So this time of year, you're probably not going to have to water them at all. It's been so wet here that it's going to take months for the soil to dry out. I haven't watered any of my fruit trees since the drought back in, early to mid-July. I often use my centipede grass as a guide. If my centipede grass is still nice and green, you don't have to water your in-ground fruit trees. If your centipede grass is turning brown and going dormant and you don't run sprinklers, I don't run the sprinklers, that's a good indicator that you may need to consider to start watering. Kathy Gaskell, are you seed starting for spring? No, not yet. So most seed websites online don't have their seed stock replenished until about Thanksgiving. So usually I order all my seeds either at the very end of November, right after Thanksgiving, or early December, because everything is going to be in stock. You are going to get your pick of the litter at that point. And then I usually start my tomatoes either the last week of January or the first week of February, but I usually plant them out last week of March, first week of April. So keep that in mind. Lucas Nand, when is the best time to pull sweet potatoes? You can let your sweet potatoes grow all the way until frost. But keep in mind their roots. So the longer you let them grow, the larger they will become. So if you don't like really large sweet potatoes, what I suggest you do is you just dig around and you pull the vines and you pull some of the soil back and you simply check on how big they are. If they are the size that you want them to be, just pull them. If they are still smaller than you'd like, you can leave them in the ground until frost. Darren, any mulberries growing? No. And I'll tell you why. Number one, I've never had a mulberry. And number two, they're a pretty decently big tree. Eventually, when the day comes that I move down to Florida and I have more room, I will definitely plant a mulberry tree because they're a big mess. They just make a mess everywhere from what I've seen. So when I have enough land that I can put it in the corner and I don't have to worry about the mess, then I will grow a mulberry. Johnny McPherson, thank you for this video. Our local bar was taking donations and I gave toilet paper, tape, paper towels, and diapers. Thank you so much. Anything you can do, anything any of us can do. If everybody just did one little thing, we wouldn't have a problem ever. Best winter veggies to plant. That depends on your zone. For 8A and other locations that see very hard frosts and freezes, I strongly recommend carrots, kale, collard greens, radishes, and arugula because they are all extremely cold hardy and they have the ability to grow when the sun gets really weak and the days get really short. Other things that are no-brainers are leeks and bunching onions. They are practically bulletproof. They'll take sub-zero temperatures, even colder if you let them sit in snowpack or you cover them. So those are must-grows. If you have a bit of a milder winter, I recommend the obvious ones: cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower. You'll have to cover them. Brussels sprouts, you'll have to cover them if you get a really hard freeze in the low 20s or colder. So please keep that in mind. Is there a this is Nan Scram. Is there a parthenocarpic yellow summer squash? There are. I don't grow yellow summer squash because I just don't like them. That's a personal decision. I recommend you just Google parthenocarpic squash varieties. There are a lot of studies that'll come up in the first 5 or 6 links where you can find some. I don't know any off the top of my head, and I've been trying to find parthenocarpic zucchinis, and I haven't. I'm failing. So I just got a new pack of seed that I intend to try next year, and hopefully I'll have better luck. TDDNENC, what do you use for cabbage worms? You can use either BT or spinosad concentrate and mix it in water at the manufacturer's recommended concentrations. BT does not harm pollinators. Spinosad does. But keep in mind, if you're spraying cabbage, there should be no flowers or anything like that. So it really doesn't matter which, they're not attracting pollinators or beneficial insects, so you can probably spray them with whatever. Spinosad is good because it can actually sit on the crops and stay active for about 3 to 5 days before it degrades, as long as it doesn't rain. So spinosad is a great thing to spray right now if you're having issues with your brassicas and worms. Susan Bristol, can you grow persimmons in pots, and where do I find the link for Operation Airdrop? You should be able to donate right on the screen. Just scroll down underneath the rolling chat and just click donate, and you should be able to do so. Man, you guys are killing it. $775 already. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. With the persimmons, I have never grown a persimmon in a container. I would think an American persimmon would be a near impossibility. Maybe some Asian varieties could. I'm growing an Ichikike Jiro variety of persimmon. It's the smallest of the Asian persimmons that I know of. It only gets to be about 8 to 10 feet tall. I would recommend you try something like that. You could also maybe try a really small fruited variety like Seijo. The trees are very large, but if you keep them small, because the fruits are so tiny, maybe they'll have a chance of ripening. It would be a risk. You could also do a hybrid, like a Nikita's Gift, that is a cross between an Asian and American persimmon. They have smaller fruit. I would try either the Nikita's Gift, the Seijo, or the Ichikike Jiro. You could try. I can't say it'll work, but I can say you definitely need a larger pot, like a 15-gallon tree pot, or something like one of those half whiskey barrels. Super Dave, thank you. Yes, absolutely. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. The more thumbs up you give this live stream, the more it will spread around people's feeds in YouTube. So just please make sure you hit the thumbs up button so as many people see this as possible. Thank you so much. Michelle M, best fig for zone 6B, frost date mid-October. I don't like telling people the best fig because that is flavor dependent. But I can give you some early recommendations. Ronde Bordeaux is going to be one that is a good try. That's a rich resiny berry fig. You could grow either Chicago Hardy or Marseille Black. They are almost identical and very early. You can grow Improved Celeste or Floria. Those are two of the earliest figs possible. If you want to take a risk on a super high quality early fig, you can try Smith. It is 2 or 3 weeks later than the varieties that I just listed, but it is my favorite of the early figs, and it is the best performer here in the Southeast. Holy smokes, $300 from Anonymous? Don't stay anonymous. Thank you so much. Oh, another, you guys are amazing. This is... I'm just so humbled by you all. Thank you. Thank you. Robert Harris. I am in Central Texas 8B. I have bell peppers and serranos and jalapenos in hinged hoop house low tunnels. Will they survive outside, or do I need to bring them in? Hinged hoop houses and low tunnels are probably going to provide you 0 degrees of freeze protection. They will only keep the frost off unless you have them dug into the ground where the ground warmth will protect them. If they are above ground, like in a raised bed, it's not going to provide any protection. And the minute it drops below 32 degrees, it will lose all the heat and it will freeze through. Ask me how I know. The only thing that you can do is either bring them inside, or you have to put a heating source in there, like several strands of incandescent Christmas lights. They're 175 watts a strand. You can only usually connect 2 in series before the fuses will blow. So 2 in series will probably give you maybe about 5 to 7 degrees of protection underneath the hoop house at night. But I can't guarantee that. I tried doing this. You can follow my hinged hoop house experiment about 3 or 4 years ago where I did this, and I was able to keep a tomato plant alive all winter here in Zone 8B using just Christmas lights. They didn't look good, but it stayed alive and it produced some really bland yellow pear tomatoes. Wendy Platts, thank you for the info. Always helpful. Do you recommend taking my calamondin orange in a pot in for the winter, or protect it in a mini shelter with heat? I don't know how cold you get. I can tell you that a calamondin is very similar to a kumquat, and they will probably take cold to somewhere in the 18 to 22 degree range when they are mature, but that's for an in-ground plant that is fully mature. If you have a plant in a pot, it's probably susceptible somewhere around 25 degrees or so. So what I do for my potted citrus is I take my potted citrus that are freeze tolerant, and I push them up against a corner of my brick house against the south wall. And then usually they're fine until about 26, 27 degrees. If it's going to be colder than that, I put a frost cloth over them. Then they're good until about 20 to 23 degrees. If I see that the temperature is going to be 22 degrees or lower, that means we will probably fall into the teens because I live in a cold swamp. Then I bring them indoors. But usually a calamondin will probably be all right to about 25 degrees in a pot if you just throw a cover over it and it's protected up against a warm wall of your house. Yeah, I think it will be okay. But anything colder than that, you definitely want to consider bringing it in. JCS, hi, I'm in North Carolina, 7B. I have a Marseille fig that has already gotten fairly large, almost too big for where it's planted. Do I need to worry about over pruning it? No, not at all. Fig trees routinely in zone 7 get killed back to the ground every single winter, and they regrow from the roots. So if they can do that, you can simply prune it back to about 2 feet or so, and then you can put like a cage around it with a couple of stakes and some chicken wire, and then stuff it full of straw, and that will insulate it and protect it from dieback. And then you can remove that in April, and you'll get a big jump start on the season. That fig can definitely get killed all the way to the ground and still ripen some fruits for you by the end of the season where you live. So if you simply prune it aggressively, but leave it above ground and give it a nice trunk to come back from, it will fruit even earlier. And obviously, the taller you leave it, the earlier you'll get a jump start for the season, but then it becomes harder to protect. So keep that in mind. It's a trade-off. Legend Prime, are you growing mulberries? And if so, are they like figs? I actually answered this question earlier. I don't grow mulberries because the trees are fairly large. They make a big mess. My yard is kind of small, and I've never had a mulberry. Eventually, when I move to my Florida property and I have lots of land, I will grow a mulberry somewhere in a corner where it can make all the mess at once, and I don't have to see it every day dropping the fruits everywhere. Jack, new gardener, should my drip system be above or below my mulch? Your call. You could do either or. I will say that if you put it under the mulch, it may clog sooner. So if you were using drip line, that stuff only lasts about maybe 2 or 3 years before you have to replace it. For mainline distribution tubes or something like that, you can keep that buried indefinitely. And actually, by burying it, since it's not exposed to the sun, the tubing will actually last a lot longer. So burying that in the sun, burying that under mulch actually will keep your distribution tubing in better shape for a longer period of time. Charsley Wolf, I live in Cary. How many fig trees can I grow alongside my house, which receives a lot of water during rainfall? About a 40-foot area. You can space your fig trees as close as 5 to 6 feet. All of my fig trees grown in ground espaliered are 6 feet apart. You just have to prune them very well every single winter to keep them in check. However, keep in mind, fig roots are a harder, more invasive root. So I don't know how close you want to put them to your foundation. I grow an avocado tree and dwarf citrus next to my foundation, but they're smaller rooted and softer rooted. I wouldn't necessarily put a fig tree up against my house like I'm growing my avocado and citrus trees. A fig tree, I'd want to keep them at least 5 feet back because those roots are a little tough. So unless you have a monster foundation, just keep that in mind. It's a little riskier. Joyce Jones, Colorado Zone 6B, rhubarb. What do I do in the winter? And when do I do it? I've never grown or tasted rhubarb. I really wish I could answer that question. If it's something that grows back, generally speaking, you can bury them. You can mulch over things if they go dormant, like if they're a bulb or a root. That's what I do with a lot of my elephant ears and things like that. So when they get frosted on, I cut them back, and then I dump a bale of straw on top, and that insulates them. Then you pull it away, and they come right back in April. At least that's what I do, but I've never grown rhubarb. I apologize. Sonia Frederick, shallot 20 plus fruit and citrus newly ground planted this early spring after watching your videos. We feel like they get dry crazy fast in ground. If the trees go dormant, they generally don't need to be watered. Even when it gets dry here in the fall, our precipitation rate is usually adequate enough to keep things moist. If you just planted them, you may want to give them a couple of waterings here and there. The evergreen trees, stuff like citrus is extremely drought tolerant. Citrus is the only plant that I know of that routinely, when you grow them in containers, you need to let them dry out to the point of wilting. Otherwise, they actually get root rot. So letting citrus get extremely dry is not necessarily a bad thing. If they're really young, maybe you can give them a couple of drinks here and there, but I have never watered any of my in-ground citrus trees ever living here after planting, and they're pretty much growing on sand. Ed Miller, when do I trim my fig trees, spring or fall? You can prune your fig trees anytime after the first couple of frosts defoliate them. You can do the scratch test where you take either your thumbnail or a little razor blade, and if you scrape the bark away and they don't bleed fig sap, they are A-OK to prune. Keep in mind, if you let them go too far into the winter without pruning them and your zone gets cold enough that it can damage fig wood, you won't be able to take cuttings from them because the wood will get damaged. So a lot of people that like to take cuttings from their trees for propagation prune it earlier before the cold can really damage the wood. But I have found that by pruning them later, the abundance of wood actually protects the tree. So it's kind of a trade-off. If you want cuttings, prune them earlier. If you want to minimize cold damage, if you're in a borderline zone like I am in zone 8, pruning them later in the winter and leaving a bigger volume, actually, I've found protects them a little bit more. To everybody that's saying thank you for doing this live stream, no, thank you all for attending and donating. I'm just talking on camera. You guys are doing the real thing, so thank you all so much. Jacoby Wade, what should I do for jalapeno plant? I have thin, long stems, not main stem. Sounds like to me you need to prune the plant back and either give it more fertilizer and more light, and both. If it's not getting enough sunlight and if it's not getting enough food, it may grow leggy. Albanian Beauty, what is a good compost brand I can buy in bulk online for a hoop house? I would strongly recommend not buying compost online because 80% of the price is shipping. It's absolutely insane what they charge. I would recommend you do one of two things. Either go to your nearest big box store and get whatever affordable compost you can get. If you don't have a vehicle that can bring the compost back, I would recommend you call around to local mulch yards and you literally just have a cubic yard or two delivered to your yard. I've seen online compost sell for $20 to $30 a bag. Compost is about $30 to $40 a yard. So you can literally get a truckload of compost dumped in your driveway apron for like 80 to $100, and you'll have more compost than you'll need, and it'll be locally made, so you know it's good stuff. You'll only be able to get 3 or 4 bags of compost online if you buy it online. That's my recommendation. Eileen Redfern, when to plant garlic in 6A? Now. Go ahead. Free to do it. Michelle M, in-ground compost video, when? I have it filmed, I just have to edit it, so hopefully within the next week. I'm really excited to share this in-ground composter I made. Christopher from Crystal River, Florida. I hope your recovery goes well. We are A-OK here in Wilmington, North Carolina. We didn't really get hit by the storm, but thank you nonetheless. I appreciate it. Michelle M, I'm going to plant blueberries side of my house. Is that okay? Yes, all of my blueberries are planted up against my house on the east wall. They're planted 24 to 30 inches off the foundation. It's been perfect. Blueberries are fantastic foundation plantings because they have pretty shallow roots and they're not going to harm your house. Super Dave, did I answer your question already? Where are you? Okay, I want to plant some figs in ground or larger pots now. I usually add biotone starter when planting. Is it too late to do that now, being it's fertilizer? If you live in a location that gets frost or freeze, I would not recommend you plant your fig trees in ground now. Figs are fairly frost sensitive, so if you get temps under 20 degrees Fahrenheit, your plant may not establish and it may die. It's not like an apple tree or a peach tree that likes being planted in fall. Unless you're in zone 9B or warmer, I would not plant a fig tree now in ground. I would wait until spring. In a pot, yeah, you can plant it with a little bit of an organic all-purpose fertilizer. That's fine. You don't have to put a lot because they're not going to feed very heavily this time of year. But they are still alive and they have to eat something. They just feed very slowly. So if you give them no fertilizer at all in an inert medium, they may die on you and starve to death. So you have to give them something. Jing, have you tried growing micro dwarf tomatoes and peppers indoors during winter? No, because I actually grow dwarf tomato project tomatoes and smaller fruited peppers indoors in my sunroom over the winter. Here in Zone 8, it's warm enough and sunny enough that I can do that. I have been growing the same cherry tomato pepper. I've been growing the same cherry tomato. I think it's 6 years old now. I dug it out of my garden when I first moved here, my first year, and it's been in my sunroom ever since. And it still produces a boatload of cherry peppers, flowers every week for me. Bluebird. Just bought a mission fig. It has fig virus. I read all mission figs sold. If you're talking about fig mosaic virus, it's a complete and total non-issue. You should have 0 signs of fig mosaic virus as long as you feed it well enough after it initially establishes. Most fig cuttings will show FMV right after they root because they are very weak. But once they develop a strong root structure, it will go away if you are feeding them enough. If you see any signs of fig mosaic virus, it means you are starving your tree and you need to feed them more regularly with stronger fertilizer. And it will go away. All my figs, I assume, have fig mosaic virus. I've never seen a model leave on them ever because I feed the heck out of them. Sonia, thank you so much for the donation. That is absolutely incredible. I really appreciate it. Jack, do you ever use kale and clay like James? I tried, but he lives in New Jersey and he has pretty dry summers, so it tends to stay on the fruit there. Here we get incredible amounts of rain come late June, and the problem is once I spray, it just washes off every day. So I found it to be it wasn't working. When the fruits first form in April or May, I can use them because it's dry here. But once the rainy season starts, I either have to bag them with organza bags to keep critters off, or drape insect netting over them, or just do nothing and just cross my fingers and pray. Christopher, have you tried Everglades tomatoes? No, I have not, because I've heard that they don't taste quite as good, and I found since growing tomatoes under shade cloth has been so incredible. Holy crap, $500 donation? Whoever you are, thank you so much. That is incredible. What was it? Yeah, Everglades tomatoes. Since growing my tomatoes underneath shade cloth, it has fixed so many of my issues with tomatoes. I haven't needed to do it. That being said, one day I should give it a try because why not? I like trying new things, and you're right. I really should give it a shot. Oh, wow. Thank you all for some of the big donations coming in. Any donation is a big donation, but this is incredible. I set a lofty goal of $5,000, and we are almost halfway there already. You guys are absolutely incredible. To all of you just joining the live stream, as you may or may not know, I do live in North Carolina, but here I live in the Wilmington, North Carolina area on the coast. We were largely unaffected by the storm, so we are A-OK here. The goal is to try and raise as much money as possible for our brothers and sisters in the mountains in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, and areas affected in Florida. And this Operation Airdrop charity, they've delivered hundreds of thousands of pounds to the affected areas. So they're real boots on the ground, people doing things and feeding people. They're not some bloated organization that keeps all the funds for administrative purposes. So thank you all so much to everybody that is donating. Anything you can give, the smallest amount, whether it's $1, we will take it. Can we see Dale? Let me see if I can bring him up. Dale, do you want a treat? Dale, I have a treat. Come here, buddy. Dale. Come on, buddy. Nothing. Being a bum. Dale, if you want a treat, come upstairs. No sign of life. Maybe with Brittany. I don't know. I'm going to text my wife and tell her that if Dale is in her office to let him out. Okay. I'm sending out the call. So hopefully we'll have a handsome hound inbound. Christy Quilter, what to feed figs zone 8A? That is going to depend if they are in containers or in ground. If you look on my YouTube channel and you consult my playlists, I have a full playlist that is totally dedicated to fertilizing figs. So rather than go on a tirade here, I recommend you consult that, because when I initially started this channel, I made a lot of content on figs and they go into pretty great detail. But if they are in ground, all you have to do, all fruit trees are pretty much fertilized the same in ground. Give them an all-purpose 555 organic fertilizer. When they're about to break dormancy in the spring, dump a couple of bags of compost and then keep a nice thick mulch layer and you're good to go. Oh, geez, I should send Mr. Dale my homemade peanut butter cookies. Oh, that dog. He already gets so many treats. I have a couple. I hear the door outside opening. Dale, come! I have a treat. Come on, Dale. He'll be here eventually. He was outside patrolling. We have had 7 possums in the yard this year, and he has just been going crazy. He's obsessed with hunting and doing perimeter checks once the sun goes down. So I guess he's doing his paw troll. Have you made homemade fig Newtons? No, I have not, but I've made a ton of fig jam. Oh, here he is. Here, come here, buddy. There's the boy. Come here. Come on up. Up. No. Oh. Doofus. Come here. Come on. Come over here. Up. No. Stop confusing him, Britt. No. Sorry, you're confusing him. No, I have treats. I can't prepare. Dog under the desk. Well, there he is. This is not productive. People are asking me questions. You're distracting me. What? I wanted to bring him up. Well, I think you're overdoing it a little, Britt.
I had to distract him from the bunny in the yard.
Come here. Come here, Pecker. Come here. Come on, I have a treat. Come, Dale. Come. Dale, come.
There's the bunny
Dale.
outside.
Great.
You can't focus.
Dale, come. Dale, I have a treat. Come here. Okay, come on up. Up. There. Finally. There's my boy. Finally, he makes an appearance. Okay, go get your bunny. And that's what it's like living with a Dale. Cheryl, can I use my tomato bed for my blueberry plants next year? I bought a soil acidifier. So I assume that if you do that, you're prepared that, the blueberries are going to live in there forever, and that's going to be their new home for forever. If so, yeah, that's totally fine. But obviously, blueberries are a perennial, so you're never going to get that space back. Moon Shadow, did he eat a possum? We've had 7 possums so far this year, and I will just say 6 of them I was able to successfully trap and relocate, and 1 of them was a victim of Dale. I don't really want to think about it. Sheila Suzuki, I am in Columbia, South Carolina. Could I maintain a lime or lemon tree in my area? Absolutely. Your zone is the same as mine, and you live right next to Stan McKenzie. You could probably get to him in an hour. So please, I beg you, take the hour or so drive to McKenzie Farms in Scranton, South Carolina. He is the #1 citrus man north of Florida. His selection is absolutely incredible. He has dozens of super cold hardy citrus, all of my grafted citrus is from him. He's the man, and you can easily grow citrus exactly the same as I do where I live. Wow, folks, $2,475 out of $5,000 raised. We are almost halfway to our goal. That is absolutely incredible. You all are amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Just Country Girl, how often to feed a pepper plant in a 7-gallon container? Probably every 10 to 14 days. I find that container-grown fruits and vegetables need more fertilizer because the roots are confound to that container, and every time you overwater them or it rains, they wash out. So 10 to 14 days, I think you should be good, and keep it mulched so when it does rain, it's less likely to wash out the nutrients. Tanya's budget and chaotic life. Welcome to my world. When can I plant my garlic in zone 7? Right now. Now is a great time to plant garlic. I have my garlic heads in the fridge because I live in a bit of a warmer zone. I usually plant mine in November, so you will be a-okay to plant yours in October. Woo! $50. Oh, that is awesome. That we just broke the halfway point, guys. 25 out of 5,000. You are all incredible. Brenda N. I am starting fall veggies now. How often should I water those veggies during cold season? If you are transplanting them, I usually only water them for the first 2 weeks or so, and then after that, they tend to take hold. What I find is that the evaporation rate is so low in the fall because of the weaker sun and the shorter days that you almost never have to water your fall crops, especially if you mulch your beds. If you get a really extreme dry period where it doesn't rain for, well over a week, 2 weeks or so, then you'll probably want to water them. But the rule of thumb is if you take your finger and you go down to the second crease, which is about 2 inches into the soil, and it is dry, then you want to water them. If you stick your finger down to the second crease, second knuckle, and you find moisture, the roots are almost certainly that deep, so you don't necessarily have to water them. Ben Gardens. I have a very shady front yard, 3 hours of sun. Recommendations for edibles I can grow. This time of year, assuming you live in the northern hemisphere, I recommend you grow radishes, arugula, herbs like parsley, dill, cilantro, leaf lettuces that have days to maturity in the 20 to 40 day range on the packet, things like red sails or a butter crunch or marvel of 4 seasons. All of those require very little solar energy and they should grow. You can probably also grow carrots as well as leeks and green onions if you start them early enough. Something like beets may also be a possibility, especially if you grow early things. So rule of thumb is when you are dealing with a lot of shade, always pick the earliest varieties with the lowest days to maturity possible and give it a go. Ultimately, the only way you'll know for sure is if you try. So push it and see what you can do and find out the fun way. Quint from Jaws. Do you find passion fruit an underrated suggestion to grow? I have never actually had a passion fruit. And when you say passion fruit, do you mean the actual tropical one or the cold hardy one like the maypop? I have not had either, so I can't really tell you any other way. I do know that both are quite invasive. So make sure that you have a lot of room for them and you're ready to deal with the mess. And also, I think they are not self-fertile. So you may need 2 varieties. Steve Rokna, is it too early for overwintering onions and garlic? Now's the time to plant garlic for most people. And green onions, I actually just transplanted out a bunch of onions a couple of weeks ago. So now's a great time to plant them. right now. Do it to it. Carla Gustka, can you tell how to donate? Just joining. Yes, if you scroll underneath the chat, there is a button to donate. You should be able to directly donate to Operation Airdrop through here. Christopher, how long should I in 9A refrigerate garlic before planting? Probably 6 to 8 weeks. Here in zone 7B, here in zone 8B where I live, I usually do about a month. So you're probably in the 6 to 8 week range. Sherry R, my citrus from San Mackenzie is doing great. Love to hear it. All mine is as well. Sonia Frederick, will BT work on snails? They keep eating my romaine lettuce. I don't know. BT is generally for worms and caterpillars. I don't know if it can cross over to snails, but I do know that for about $9, you can buy a bag of iron phosphate snail and slug bait, and you just sprinkle that around your plants, and that will attract them, and that will make almost immediately short work of them. So there's no need to spray. You can just buy the iron phosphate. It's real cheap. I have some of it linked in my Amazon storefront in the insect pest control list. It's real cheap. Christine Alana, is there anything I can do to negate the toxic nature of black walnut trees? So I've never dealt with these trees myself. I have heard that juglone toxicity can be an issue for some plants. The obvious thing would be to not use mulch made from the tree, but if you have them growing all over the place, you would just have to plan out your yard and garden accordingly. You would want to research the plants that are affected by the juglone toxicity and make sure that you plant them a fair distance away from the trees where the roots will not reach, and then use the space around the trees and plant things that are unaffected. Because there are a laundry list of things that can cohabitate with the black walnut. So this is just basically a Google research thing, and then just plan out your garden as best you can. Honey badgers, I'm in zone 6B, but it's over 80 degrees, more like close to 90 today. Should I wait to plant my garlic? I'm afraid that may start to sprout. My general recommendation for temperature flare-ups is to ignore them and to always look 6 weeks into the future, because that's what the weather will be when things are actually being transplanted after you start them from seed. But garlic is kind of an anomaly because garlic really takes the cold. So that garlic, you actually do have the flexibility to wait if it's still warm. So will it hurt you to wait another week or two? Absolutely not. Just make sure you get it planted before the ground freezes, obviously. You can wait all the way up until pretty much your first frost to plant garlic. So you have a little bit of flexibility there. Mike Seitz, any suggestions on how to get radishes to bulb up? Yeah, don't fertilize them. I never fertilize radishes ever. And they are very light feeders, especially because they're so small. And I usually use soil that I just pulled something out of. You can give them a sprinkling of an organic 555 fertilizer if the soil is really depleted. But generally speaking, I don't really fertilize my radishes. And if you are not getting bulbing, it's probably because you are over fertilizing them or your soil has too much nitrogen. If that is the case and all of your soil is too rich in nitrogen, you may want to consider growing them in containers and taking your soil out of the equation. Valley Rose, is aluminum sulfate okay for garden or toxic? Are you talking about like an acidifying fertilizer? Because if you're going to, let's see. So I generally use elemental sulfur to acidify my soil. But that being said, if you're using a fertilizer that has aluminum sulfate added as a pH lower, it's probably going to be fine, as long as you don't overdo it. But keep in mind, soil that is outdoors is constantly being flushed out by the water cycle. So a lot of things like salt buildup and things like that is overstated in areas that get frequent rain. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. But if you want to use something, if you haven't bought anything yet and you want to use what I think is the best thing for acidifying soil, I would get elemental sulfur prills. I do have some linked in my Amazon storefront. I think it's pretty affordable. It's like 10 to 15 bucks for a bag of them, and they go a pretty long way. Sarah DeGroot, does the no fertilizer to bulb up rule also apply to turnips? Generally speaking, if you're having an issue with things like radishes or turnips or beets bulbing, it's probably because you are giving them too much nitrogen. So it's not necessarily a fertilizer issue, it's the N in the nitrogen. So your soil just may be too fertile. You may be giving them too much compost. Like, you don't really need to give the root crops compost. You can just put them in soil that with no fresh compost, give them a little sprinkling of an organic 555, and then just don't do anything. So it's become very fashionable to put huge amounts of compost in our gardens these days, and the compost may contain so much nitrogen that it could be causing an issue. Also, you should never give your root crops like that something like a Miracle Grow all-purpose or something like a high nitrogen water-soluble fertilizer. I wouldn't give them any water-soluble fertilizer at all ever. Even fish emulsion may have too much nitrogen. So I would not use a water-soluble fertilizer on my carrots, my turnips, my beets, my radishes. Just go with a slow release, granulated organic. It should be all you need, and limit the amount of compost. You can give them a little bit, but don't overdo it. Donna Brooks, thank you for helping the victims of Helene. Thank you all so much for everybody that has joined this live stream. I want to just take a moment to discuss, in case you just joined this, the purpose of this live stream is to raise as many donations as possible for the victims of Hurricane Helene. If you have not donated yet, and you have the means and can afford to do so, please, anything you can do, I don't care if it's $1, a quarter, anything, and anything you can afford will go to Operation Airdrop. And I specifically selected Operation Airdrop because they're not some bloated, bureaucratic, giant nonprofit that keeps the funds for administrative use. They're actually boots on the ground. They have delivered hundreds of thousands of pounds of medical supplies and food, hot meals to the people that are in these affected areas right now. So anything you can do, underneath the chat, there is a donate button that will go directly to Operation Airdrop. My understanding of the YouTube fundraisers is none of the money ever passes through my hands. I don't touch it. It goes straight to, it goes through YouTube. YouTube pays the administrative fees, and then they release the funds to Operation Airdrop. And I have this fundraiser closing out at the end of the day tomorrow. I don't want to keep this fundraiser open because I want the funds to be released as soon as possible. And the longer I let it run, the longer it will sit in limbo, and they need funding now. So hopefully I'll be able to do another fundraiser like this in the near future, but I need to close this out as soon as possible to get the money into the hands of the people that need it. Ben Gardens, I would love to hear more about Operation Airdrop. So I'll be honest, I don't know if I've ever heard of them before I decided I wanted to do a fundraiser. And I did a lot of research, and YouTube has a great platform for raising funds, but they're also very exclusive as to who they allow on the platform. So it took me a number of quite a bit of research to find people that were actually boots on the ground, delivering hot meals, delivering supplies, really there, not just some bloated organization that has a big name but actually isn't boots on the ground. And I found through the Charlotte Observer that as of a day or two ago, that they had delivered 300,000 pounds. I actually placed a link in the video description. So, did I? No, I didn't. I just made a liar of myself. In the community post that I made, I posted some. I'll just post the link right in the chat. Bear with me. So here is a link I'm posting. Are you serious? I think the link is actually too long to post. There we go. So that is the link. I don't know if it'll work, but according to Charlotte Magazine, Operation Airdrop, as of yesterday, has donated 300,000 pounds to the Helene survivors. 317,667 pounds of supplies, who have no other way to get them otherwise. They loaded up for more than 200 helicopter flights, accounting for 22,000 pounds of water, foods, diapers, cleaning, and medical supplies. And the pictures of all the stuff they delivered is absolutely incredible. They are a Texas-based nonprofit, and they're there, boots on the ground. So they're legit. You can see the whole hangar full of all of the supplies that they donated. It's pretty incredible. So thank you all so much for the donations. And if you haven't donated to Operation Airdrop yet, and you have $1 that you can afford, anything, $1, $5, whatever you can, it is so greatly appreciated. I set a fundraising goal of about $5,000. It's a lofty goal. I pulled that number out of thin air, but amazingly, you all have already broken well past the halfway point. And thank you all so much that has donated thus far. Brian Overcash. Anthony says to use fish fertilizer. Raccoon said, yes, I love fish fertilizer. Fish fertilizer is fantastic, but a lot of these organic fertilizers do have a scent to them. One thing I have found to be a little bit helpful is to water early in the morning. That way the fertilizer has a chance to de-stink a little bit before nighttime arrives. So keep that in mind. Cam, where is the fundraising link? If you look underneath the live chat, there is a donate button. It says donate now, relief for victims of Hurricane Helene. We're up to, it has a little bar that shows the progress. Incredibly, we are at $2,773 out of $5,000 raised. You all are absolutely freaking amazing. I don't know if some of you by any chance are watching on a TV. I don't know. I've never watched a live stream on a TV before. I don't know if there's an ability to donate over a TV, but it's plainly visible if you're on a desktop or on a phone. Just minimize the chat and you'll see the donate button. Keegan Everett, any recommendations for where to buy dwarf fruit trees? So about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, if you look at my channel, I'll link to the video right here. It's from 13 days ago. It is called Essential Fall Gardening Checklist You Must Do Now. In that video, I have it timestamped at, I think it's task 9, 13 minutes and 53 seconds in. I give a laundry list of everywhere I have ever ordered a fruit tree. 13. Hold on, I'm getting an ad on my own video. Yeah. So 14 minutes and 55 seconds if you skip to. I give a list of everywhere I've ever ordered fruit trees, and there are at least 24 different places there. I've ordered from a lot of folks, and I've never had a problem with any of them. They've all been fantastic. Jack, can you plant blueberries now in Zone 8B? Yes, you can. Absolutely. Blueberries can be planted at any time in pretty much during the fall and winter for almost any zone. You could even wait. You can wait until you get a frost or freeze. Blueberries are basically invincible. They're like a zone 3 hardy plant. So you can plant them whenever you want and they'll be just fine. The only time I wouldn't plant a blueberry is heading into summer. Rod Knockers Fishing. What is the best fertilizer for cabbage and broccoli? Cabbage and broccoli are actually very heavy feeders. And since you are basically eating the foliage of the plant, I would recommend every 2 weeks you give them a couple of tablespoons of an organic 555 granulated fertilizer around the root zone. And then you can also follow that up with something like Alaska fish fertilizer or any other fish fertilizer product. If you're okay with using a synthesized fertilizer, a Jack's 20-20-20 or even like a Miracle Grow tomato is acceptable if you're not an organic gardener. And yeah, you should be fine feeding them once every 2 weeks on a schedule like that. Wow. Thank you all so much for the donations. To the 3 anonymous donors and to Mark Rudnicki, thank you so much. Watching that bar fill up is absolutely incredible. $2,913. We are almost to $3,000. I can't believe it. Oh, you guys are incredible. Thank you all so much. Jamil, I'm trying to root fig cuttings. Have a plastic container with damp peat moss that seems to be working well, but white mold is growing. Trying to use hydrogen peroxide to control it. Any other ideas? Hydrogen peroxide has been one of the only things that I've found effective. You could also try buying pure vermiculite and then dropping about 1 inch of vermiculite on top. Vermiculite basically stops mold growth, so that may be something that you can do. The only thing to keep in mind is that I've tried rooting cuttings in pure vermiculite, and they all failed because it held too much moisture. I lost every single one. So you have to be pretty sparingly with it. I've also seen some folks use rice hulls on top. Rice hulls, Hulls. So you could also try putting a thin layer of rice hulls to see if that will stop the process. But hydrogen peroxide has been the best solution for me. And then just let it get stronger sun or some kind of UV. UV inhibits fungal growth. So that means to me you're probably doing things in a dark room or under a weak grow light, and the UV is not cleansing the soil. Best fig for Hawaii 12B. You got me. That climate sounds like a dream. But figs are deciduous trees, keep in mind. So they're from temperate zones. They need a big difference between winter and summer in terms of day length to know when to drop their leaves. So I have seen people and heard of people in tropical and deep into the subtropical regions trying to grow figs, and it doesn't go well because they don't know when to drop their leaves. So you will have to take it upon yourself to manually defoliate the tree come November or so. Well, that's probably too early in Hawaii. Probably around Christmas time or a little bit after. You'll have to manually cut the tree back, prune it, remove all the leaves yourself. That should shock it into, I don't know if I want to say dormancy, but it should at least reset its biological clock. But basically, when you're in a climate like Hawaii, just grow the figs you like. I personally like Smith Italian 258, all of the Caldidoms, specifically Caldidom Blanc. Colonel Littman's Black Cross is fantastic. So is, name is escaping me. Noir de Barbentane. I think Noir de Barbentane is a better fig than Black Madeira. At least it grows better here. So those are some suggestions I would give you. George Toscos, have you tried to grow Yutsu lemons before, considering growing it in ground in Zone 7B? No, because I've never had Yutsu, and I can actually grow lemons in ground here where I live. So I'm growing a Meyer lemon, and it's so fantastic that I can basically use it for anything lemon. Yutsu, if I lived in Zone 7, I would have absolutely no hesitation to try growing Yutsu. That is absolutely what I would grow. I think you absolutely should try growing it. If you need a Yutsu tree, I think Stan McKenzie has them. I would recommend giving him a call. Stan McKenzie, McKenzie Farms, Scranton, South Carolina. He will ship you one. He grafts all his stuff onto trifoliate hybrid rootstock. I think it's Flying Dragon, which is exactly what you want because that will keep the tree only about 5 to 6 feet tall, and it will impart additional cold hardiness. So that will be your best chance at growing Yutsu where you live because you'll be able to protect it since it'll stay small. Proto, how can I eliminate vinegar flies from laying larvae in my blueberries? Vinegar flies. Do you mean spotted wing Drosophila, SWD? The only solution that I have found is before the problem starts, you have to cover them in insect netting. So either get yourself a big drawstring plant jacket or a big piece of insect netting. By the way, Amazon is clearing out tons of insect netting, like 10-foot by 50-foot reels for like $10 right now. You just run it in a big row and drape it over the trees and then put bricks down to keep the insect netting there. That's the only solution I found of those little buggers. Just Country Girl, have you ever grown ginger? No, I have not. That is on my list of things to do. But I have noticed if you follow Gary Pilarchik, he lives in Maryland, Zone 7B, and I believe he has videos on how to do that. So if he can do it in his zone, that's probably a good place to start the research. JB, I'm on my second round of cucumbers, and powdery mildew is a big issue. Neem oil is doing nothing. Yeah, I think neem oil is about good for nothing. I've never had any success for it. Try making yourself a hydrogen peroxide spray. Mix 8 tablespoons of 3% concentration hydrogen peroxide. Make sure it's 3%. 8 tablespoons per gallon mixed in water, and then spray the plants down after sunset. Sun has to set, or else the sun will react with the peroxide and burn your leaves. Spray it every 48 hours, and it should clear up in about a week. So spray it every other day. That should be pretty much all you need to do. Woo! We broke $3,000. Yes! You all are awesome. Since we've broken $3,000, now is, I guess, a time I need to make another desperate pitch. As you may or may not know, I live in Wilmington, North Carolina. We were unaffected by the hurricane, but my brothers and sisters out in Western North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, Georgia, and Florida, they were badly affected by this storm. So they're in a bad way. Please, anything we can do to raise funds to support them. I don't care if it's $1, $5, $100, whatever you, as little or as much as you can afford. The charity I selected for this is Operation Airdrop. They are running missions into the affected areas as we speak. I posted a link from Charlotte Magazine that shows the $300,000 in donations they have provided to date that they're dropping in by hundreds of helicopter missions. These people are amazing. I'm going to post the link again. So if you can copy and paste that link into your browser, you can see the absolutely absurd amount of real supplies that they are bringing into the affected areas. These are real boots on the ground people. This is not a bloated billion-dollar organization that's going to take your money and give 90% of it to administration. These are people that are actually working out there right now. They're based in Texas. They are the real deal. So please, if you can donate anything, however little, every little bit helps. Thank you all so much to everyone that has donated thus far. We all appreciate it so much. You get more donations if you flexed again. I'll do anything for more donations for these people. Anything we can do. Royce Norris, this is my first season gardening. You are an awesome source of information and inspiration. Thank you. No, thank you all for watching, because if you all didn't watch the videos, I would not have the motivation to do this. So the only reason why I do this, and I've gotten better at this, and I've figured out a way to, I guess, make decent quality content, is because you have all inspired me to get better, to become a better editor and filmer. And you've honestly, I would have a garden half the size, maybe less, of what I do now, if I didn't have you all pushing me and motivating me to find the next big thing and run the next cool experiment and trying something new. So I wouldn't be half the gardener that I am if it weren't for all of you and all of the wonderful blessings that you have given me over the years. I can't believe to this day that you all follow me and that you care about my goofy little garden in my backyard here in some nowhere North Carolina subdivision. So thank you all so much. It means more to me than I could ever put into words. I would have none of this and none of the opportunities without you. So thank you. How is Dale this evening? Oh, I had Dale jumping all over me a little while ago. Might be time for another Dale visit. Dale, I have one more treat. Dale, do you want a treat? Come on, Dale. I have a treat. Come here. Say hi to your fans. Dale, come up. Up. Oh, very good. Gentle. Oh, there's my boy. How are you tonight? Were you on possum patrol? Dale caught a possum just a couple of nights ago. He really takes his job seriously. He is a handsome hunting hound. Nobody messes with his territory. We all know Dale has more fans than the Millennial Gardener. Yes, thank you, Britt. You really set the bar low on that, though. There isn't a person alive that should like me better than Dale. I would take Dale 100 times over my big head. Dale is doing tricks for donations. Yes, dollars for Dale. That's what I should have called this. If you could all give $1 for Dale's tricks, that would be great. My dog heard treat. Now she's looking at me. Okay. We'll break the bag out. We know you have them. What are you waiting for? Is gardening a vocation for you? So I still work full-time. I am a full-time electrical engineer. I do a lot of fiber communications design, and we work for a lot of DOTs and public sector entities. So that's actually why I was just in Pittsburgh for 4 days, standing on the side of I-376. All kinds of fun. But I still do work full-time, 45 hours a week. I do this 40 to 40 hours a week as well. That's how long it takes to film and edit all of the content and then actually take care of the garden. So this has been a 100 plus hour a week endeavor for me for the past probably 3 or 4 years or so. And I just absolutely love doing it. I hope I am blessed enough to one day be able to truly do this full time. But I love this so much that it gives me the energy to be able to do this. Wendy Platts, if you were moving to Florida, you can be Hollis and Nancy's neighbors. I already have the plot that I picked. I'm very, very lucky that I was able to meet my new future neighbors a couple of weeks ago when we went to visit, and I planted some things on the property. I have to say, I lucked out big time that I have some good neighbors, because you cannot beat some good neighbors. They actually they mowed the whole 3 acres for me when I was gone and sent me a picture, and they said it's a housewarming gift. Just wonderful people. There's no substitute for good neighbors, people. Garden Talk Jamaican. How do I donate? Underneath the chat, there is a donate button. It says donate now, relief for victims of Hurricane Helene. The charity is Operation Airdrop. They are absolutely incredible. They've flown over 300,000 pounds of supplies to the people affected by the storm so far. That was of a day or two ago. So I'm sure it's even more now. So anything we can do to help these people help the people, that's just amazing. I set a goal of $5,000 here. We're at 3172. So if you haven't donated yet, the donations close out, I think, tomorrow at the end of Monday. So after that, it should pass right through. YouTube should kick the funds over to the people. So YouTube pays the administration fees. As far as I know, they don't take a cut. It never touches my hand, so I don't touch it. It just, as far as I know, it passes right through to them within the Guide Star network. So just awesome stuff. Sherry R., you are absolutely welcome. I'm glad that you like Dale. He is a very, very special boy. Jim Wallace, how will you move your plantings when you move to Florida? You know, this is kind of funny, but I want to start fresh. I want to start completely new. I'll probably do things like root fig cuttings and take them with me, because I won't bring nearly as many as I have now, though. When that day comes, I will. This has always been a place that I intended to live for 10 to 15 years. I never wanted to live in a neighborhood into my mid 40s and 50s. I always wanted some land. So this has always been a giant experiment for me. Kind of learning how to grow high density in a small space, finding the things that I really love, and also finding the things I don't like, so I don't make those mistakes in the future. And I am really strangely looking forward to leaving everything behind and starting anew. There's just, my favorite part about gardening is the starting process. It's the most exciting process. So one of the things I want to do with the land is I want to break it up into phases and not develop it all at once. I want to take my time and just make little food forests and little side gardens. And hopefully, I hope whenever I die one day, I die with a shovel in my hand and dirty hands. Hopefully not by by a gardening accident. But that's the dream, and I hope that I can stretch this out to be a lifelong project. Michelle M., will your Florida place be impacted by Hurricane Milton? So the place is on the east coast of Florida, basically in between, I would say in between St. Augustine and Cape Canaveral. So that area tends to not get direct hits, but it tends to get grazed over by a large number of hurricanes that hit the west coast. So if it takes the current track, yes, it will probably be glanced by the storm. It won't be a direct hit. If this track is the case, it will pass south of it, but I don't know. Unfortunately, one of the problems with living in Florida is that no matter where you live, you're never truly safe. But that's how I live now, so I'm kind of used to it. Honey badgers, are you going to do forest garden in Florida? I intend to break the property up into many different smaller food forests and then kind of connect everything with walkways. So what I want to do in my head is I want to have, in the 2 acres that are cleared, I would like to have multiple different quarter-acre food forests that are fenced in, and then make connecting paths to them with all natives that are not fenced in. So the idea is to keep the food that I want protected behind fencing, and then to leave a lot of natives completely unprotected that I don't necessarily want for nature. Because the problem that I'm having now is that raccoons and squirrels and birds and possums have all found me, and they're eating the food that I want. So I want to plant things that are specifically sacrificial for them and have my stuff be a little bit of an obstacle, with the idea that nature is lazy and that they'll leave my stuff alone if I give them stuff to eat that is no obstacle. So that's what I want to do. Spider Greg, will I grow mangoes in Florida? Yes, but not until I live there full time, because this is Zone 9B. It tends to get in the low 20s every 10 years, and generationally it gets a night in the high teens. So they can't survive without human intervention long term. So that won't be until I live there. Ed Miller, yes, I will leave North Carolina completely, but it's not going to be for a long time. I'm here for at least 5 more years, probably closer to 10. It all depends. We have family that lives in the area. It's going to be a huge financial lift to develop a property like that, so I have to do a lot of saving. So I will do the best I can. Andra Landy, what made you decide to move to Florida? Well, I wanted to move to a location that allowed me to basically grow more warm weather things. So it needed to be at least zone 9. So that basically left me with Florida, Texas, California, and Arizona. California is too expensive. Arizona, I am nowhere near prepared for that climate, and I don't want to live in a place that dry. So it was basically between Texas and Florida, and I am just well adapted to the humid locations. I've grown up and lived on the East Coast my entire life, and living where we live now in Wilmington, North Carolina, they call us halfbacks because we're halfway from the northeast of Florida. And it's not going to be a big lift for me mentally or physically to get used to the Florida climate. I already know how to grow in these summers. I'm used to the rainfall patterns. I'm used to the storms. Florida would just be, it's the easiest move for me to make where I can grow what I want to grow. So hopefully that makes sense. Ed R., do you plan on building a pond in your property in Florida? No, because I plan on having a dale, and I don't want an open water feature where I have to worry about alligators. I'm very pro alligator. We have plenty of alligators here, but I don't want a dog near a pond that could have gators in it. So, plus the mosquito issues. We have too many of them as it is. So I don't intend on making a water feature. Sherry R., do you know if the bug pressure in Florida is as bad as we have here in North Carolina? I think it's way worse here where we live in North Carolina than Florida. Central Florida is mostly high and dry. Where we live in the Wilmington area, it is swamp crazy. I was just down there at my property for 4 days, and I didn't see a single bug. I came back here, and it was like Moses-level plagues of mosquitoes from the tropical storm. You couldn't even go outside to the mailbox. So from the trips I've taken to Florida, I would say there are way more mosquitoes in coastal North Carolina than in Florida. Lane Allen, I'm watching on a TV. I can't donate or shop here. If you could bring it up on your phone, you should be able to make a donation. Same thing with a desktop. I know it's a pain in the butt to do it, and it's another step you'd have to take. But if you are able to donate, we'd all be so appreciative if you were able to do so. Lysandra West, I'm in Central Florida. Hardly any bugs now. It's finally starting to die down here, but the last month has been an absolute nightmare. So I'm glad to know we're on a similar. I'm glad to know it breaks there as well. Jeff Sherwood, you are absolutely welcome. I'm glad to help in any way I can, but mainly thank everybody in the chat that has donated thus far. I couldn't do it without everybody. Spider Greg, can bugs overwinter in the soil if we mulch it with wood chips? Yes, I have actually found one of the downsides of mulching with wood chips is I tend to, where I live here, have a terrible biting gnat problem for about 3 weeks when March rolls into April, and then they go away. So I just deal with it because for the other 49 weeks a year, the wood chips provide enormous benefits. So I just deal with it. But yes, wood chips basically simulate a forest floor, and that does protect things to an extent. So, you're creating an ecosystem, and that means that it creates an ecosystem for the bugs sometimes as well. But what I have found is as my garden and my yard grows and becomes more mature, I don't have nearly the problem with bugs that I used to have. If you watch my videos from 3 or 4 years ago, I had to spray so much more but I probably spray about a third as much as I did when I moved here, even though I have way more stuff growing, because I guess I finally colonized enough ladybugs and dragonflies and things like that. And since the sandy soil is gone, it's kept away a lot of the negative ants and things like that. So things have gotten a whole heck of a lot easier. Emily Berg, I used your irrigation series to set up my garden irrigation a couple of years ago. Thank you. Just what I needed. So glad to hear that we have another convert in the wonderful world of drip irrigation. I can't live without it now. It is a lifesaver. Okay, it's 8:30 and my voice is kind of starting to wind down a little bit. I've been doing this for about an hour and a half. To date, we have raised $3,222 out of the goal of $5,000. Again, I just threw a number in there. I pulled it randomly out of the air. But that being said, if you are attending this live stream and you do have the means of doing so, anything you can donate to help the people affected by Hurricane Helene is greatly appreciated. You don't have to donate $20, $50, $100. $1, $5, $3, anything. Anything you can afford would be greatly appreciated. The way this charity is set up, it does not touch my hands. I never touch any of the money. It goes, YouTube apparently covers all the transaction fees as it states in the fine print, and then they pass the donations on to Operation Airdrop. Operation Airdrop has been running flights delivering supplies. They're based out of Texas. They're a nonprofit that has been actively boots on the ground. They've funded hundreds of flights delivering over 300,000 pounds of needed food and medical supplies to the people affected by the storm. So once again, just to try and bang this one more time, I'm going to drop a link to Charlotte Magazine, which you can copy and paste in your browser, and you can read and look at the pictures of the incredible stuff that these people have delivered. So anything you can do, any couple of bucks that you can kick over to help them, it would be greatly appreciated. If you don't know where to donate, the donate button is underneath the chat if you're on mobile or on a desktop. So if you look underneath the chat, it will say Relief for Victims of Hurricane Helene. You can make a donation directly. The way I have this set up is the fundraiser ends tomorrow. You will not be able to donate after tomorrow because I've done these live streams before and the traffic just drops off a cliff about 12 hours after the live stream. And if you leave the fundraiser open, the funds sit in limbo. So we need this fundraiser closed out by end of day tomorrow so the funds can be scuttled over to Operation Airdrop as soon as possible. We don't want them sitting in limbo. So I beg you, if you can afford to do so and you haven't made a donation yet, donate as much or as little as you can, whatever's comfortable for you. Every dollar helps. So this is it's not going to be something that you'll be able to come back to and donate. That being said, it looks like Florida is about to get just cluster bombed by another awful hurricane that's going to hit in one of the worst spots imaginable where so many people live. So I have a feeling that I will yet again do another live stream and try to raise funds like this now that I've seen how incredibly well this has worked out. So thank you all so much for attending. Thank you all so much for your donations. You are all amazing. I did enable ads on this stream because I intend to take the proceeds and fork that over to a charity that I can make a direct donation to, whatever the ad revenue winds up being. So when that happens, I'll let you all know. I'll probably pick a different charity because I want to spread the love around. A lot of folks have been saying Samaritan's Purse has been boots on the ground there. They're actually based out of North Carolina. Unfortunately, I could not choose them as a fundraiser. They are not eligible on YouTube, but nobody says that I can't take the funds from this video and then give them directly. So I will let you all know when I do that. Charger Mopar, I sure hope you're right and it does weaken before it gets here, because right now it's Right now, the storm shows it. NHC thinks it's going to hit the Tampa area as a Cat 3 or 4. So I don't know. All we can do is hope and pray. I think I'll hang on for another 5 minutes before my voice completely gives out. So if you would like to, if you have any last minute questions, please drop them in the chat. If you haven't donated yet, I'm going to be signing off soon. So please make a last minute donation if you can. It would be just. I'm at a loss for words. I had no idea that we'd raised this much in such a short amount of time. So thank you all so much. You are all amazing. If you have any last questions, please. Where's your dog? I've had Dale up here a couple of times, and I don't have any more treats. I'd hate to lie to the guy. I can try to get him up here one more time. Dale, can you come? Come one more time. Come here, buddy. Oh, look at him, Dale. Can you come up? Come up. Oh, here he is. Here's Dale in the flesh. Oh, he's so good. Say hi to your fans. They love you. They like you way more than me because they have good taste.
We all do.
Oh, I like Dale more than me. I wouldn't pick me if my life depended it over this nosy noser. Oh, he's so good. Thank you, Dale. How old is Dale? We don't actually know because he was a rescue found on the side of the road. But we think he's somewhere around 5 to 6 years old. That's my guess. We think that when we adopted him, he was somewhere in the 1 to 2 year old range. And I think we've had him. Britt, how long have we had him? Has it been 4 years or 5 years? I don't even remember. He's 4 years. He's probably somewhere around 6 years old. Okay, we adopted him in January of 2020, and we think that it is he was a year or two old since. So that makes 4.5 years. Carry the 1. So we think he's probably between 5.5 and 6.5 years old, if we had to guess. You could donate to one of the animal charities helping out there on behalf of Dale. That is true. However, if you look at the link that I posted from Charlotte Magazine, which again, I'm going to spam this link one more time. If you actually go to that link on Charlotte Magazine and you click on the photo, there is an absolutely obscene amount of cat and dog food there. So these Operation Airdrop people looks like there must be thousands of pounds of dog and cat food there. So I did look into animal related things, but these Operation Airdrop folks are not just helping humans. They're helping the dogs, the cats, everybody. So they're delivering supplies for everybody there. So hot meals for everyone. So that's why I wanted to select them. So they're just doing absolutely brilliant work. So again, if you haven't donated, anything you can give, hit the donate button. It doesn't matter if it's $1, whatever you can afford, as little, every little bit helps. Barbara Hart, thank you so much. Anonymous, who just dropped $100. Thank you so much. You are all incredible. I actually want to cry a little bit. Wow. 3,382 out of 5,000. Can we hit 3,500 before I sign off? If we could break 3,500, that would be amazing. I want to hang on until we break 3,500. Patty Pate, prayers for your sister. Please have her evacuate, even if she doesn't want to. Don't let her off the phone unless she evacuates. If it hits where it is supposed to hit, it's going to be nasty with storm surge, and it's not just dangerous for her to stay behind. It's dangerous for all the rescue workers that invariably will have to come try to rescue. So it puts so many people's lives in danger. A wind threat is one thing, but when we're talking about storm surge that goes deep into the mainland, that is a whole different animal, and it's just unsurvivable. Wow, $34.92. $34.92. Can I get $8? Can I get $8? $35.17. You guys did it. That is incredible. $3,500. That is absolutely amazing. Oh my God! Thank you all so much. God bless you all that have donated. You all are just the best. I personally am not pro social media. I think it's done so much harm in so many ways. But the gardening community online, if every social media platform was like the gardening people, social media would be like a multivitamin. It would be doing so much good. You are all the best that the world has to offer. You didn't have to tune into this. You didn't have to give $1. No one would have known, but you did it anyway. And thank you. That's all I can say. Thank you all so much. And Just Country Girl, you are correct. Now we pray, because it looks like we are going to get smacked by another bad one. It's almost the middle of October. These storms should be dying down. And of course, it looks like they want one more lick of the ice cream cone. So if it's all right with all of you, we may be doing another one of these in a couple of weeks. And so I apologize in advance if I start sounding like a beggar, but I don't know what else to do, and I can't look at myself in the mirror if I don't at least try. And you all are just absolutely incredible. So, okay, Jacoby Wade, what to do for my jalapeno plant? Let it stem and it thin. If you are saying that your jalapeno plant is really, really thin and leggy, I think you need to prune it back. You need to give it a lot more light, and you need to give it some fertilizer, because a thin-stemmed plant probably means it's not getting enough light, and it may not be getting enough food. So it's starving. It's starving for either sunlight, or for nutrients, or for both. Brian Overcash, thank you. I'm glad to help in any way I can, but I can't do anything without all of you guys watching and contributing. Y'all are amazing. Jeez, $36.82. I haven't eaten dinner yet, and you're making it so hard for me to leave. You guys just keep donating, and it makes me want to stay on for as long as possible. Darren Null, when's the best time to cut the figs back for winter? When they go dormant. So usually that takes a couple of frosts. What you want to do is you want to take a razor blade or a knife or a really sharp fingernail, and you want to slice off a little bit of the outer bark until you cut into the wood. And if you see sap dripping, that means the fig trees are not dormant yet. When that sap drip stops completely or slows to a crawl, some zones it never stops completely. Like my zone, it tends to never stop completely. But if there's not much dripping, after those first couple of frosts and freezes, you can go ahead and prune. If you want to save the cuttings, you'll have to do it before the really severe cold starts. So once you start getting into the low 20s, you're running into the danger zone of fig wood being damaged. So if you want to take cuttings and propagate, you need to do it before the wood gets damaged. If you live in a zone where fig wood damage is possible. Just Country Girl, come on, can we get the 4K? Yeah, I kind of feel like we need to stay on until we hit 4K. I guess I have to make another pitch. Can you belly roll? I don't even know what that means, but it sounds terrible. The answer is probably yes, but I shouldn't. Spider Greg, when should I up pot my citrus since they are evergreen? Actually, a really good time to do that is when it gets as cool as possible, because while citrus never goes dormant, if you live in a location where it gets chilly, citrus do really slow down a lot. So if you have potted citrus and you live in a location where you get a lot of frost and freezes, once you start getting those low light days of December and January and it gets really cold, that's probably the best time for you to up pot your citrus. You don't want to do it when things are actively growing. And you also, the exception is going to be if you have a ton of fruit on the tree. So some citrus, like your satsumas, your kumquats and things like that, you harvest them in early fall. So if your tree is bare and you've already harvested, a good time to do that is going to be in December and January when it's at peak coldness. However, if you have citrus that gets like a navel orange or a blood orange or some Meyer lemons where you don't really get to pick them until January or February, you can't up pot the tree when it's loaded with fruit, because that could really stress it out. It could drop the fruit. The tree could go into shock. So it's very important that your tree is not in a flowering phase and covered in fruit. So that being said, I modify my statement. The best time to plant to up pot your citrus is when the tree has been harvested fully, but it's still as cold as possible out. So whatever that is, that's the time. That's going to depend on where you live and what you're growing. Vicky Westland, thank you so much for your donation. Just Country Girl, thank you so much for your donation. Steady Life, thank you so much for your donation. Blue Wolf, thank you so much for your donation. Beth, thank you so much for your donation. Rachel Lincoln, thank you so much for your donation. All of the anonymous donors, thank you so much. You are all incredible. Rainbow, thank you. Darcinda, thank you. You are all just incredible. 3814. Can we get to 4,000? Can we get to 4,000? Rhonda Birch, thank you. Oh my, $50. You all are incredible. Thank you so much. Adnan Abdi. Does Col de Dame Blanc fig have Breba? I am in 8B with short season. So this is what I will tell you. My Col de Dame Blanc figs, the trees, have set Breba crops, but they always drop them when they're about that big. I have never had a Breba on any of my Col de Dames hold. Now, that being said, it seems like for whatever, my hot summer climate, the Brebas don't work. They tend to always drop. It seems like things are a lot different for people that are out in cool summer climates, like in the Pacific Northwest or the upper Midwest that grow figs in pots. For whatever reason, the places that take forever to warm up or never do fully warm up, they tend to hold Breba better. I can't explain why. But I would not count on any Col de Dame fig ever to produce a Breba fig for you. Even if they form, they will probably abort. Brian Overcash, do you know Jerry Lewis took his pants off during the MD to break a million? I'll tell you what. If we break 1 million, I'll take my pants off. But until that happens, and I don't think that's going to happen on this live stream. Oh, you are all so awesome. We are at 38.34. Can we get another $166 and break that $4,000 range? If we do that, I can go to bed happy tonight. Well, I'm going to bed happy tonight no matter what. We could have done half this, and I'd be going to bed really happy tonight that we're actually making a difference. This is fan-freaking-tastic. Correct. Piece of My Heart Homestead. Fundraiser should be available till tomorrow. Yes, I do not have this fundraiser closing out until tomorrow evening. It is very important, in my opinion, that I have a rapid closeout. Otherwise, the money sits in limbo and it doesn't get delivered if we leave the fundraiser open-ended. So my goal was to try and close this out. The views are going to crater on this video as soon as the live stream goes dead. and then it's going to trickle some last minute views tonight into tomorrow. And then after that, there's no point in keeping it live because nobody's going to watch this come Tuesday. So we are closing out the live stream donation fund on Monday. That way these funds can get released to the people that need them as soon as possible. And again, one more time, I'm going to spam the link in the chat for the the Charlotte Magazine article on Operation Airdrop, and you can see the incredible amounts of stuff that they've donated. Over 300,000 pounds of food and supplies, diapers, dog food, cat food, all kinds of stuff. It's amazing. It looks like an Amazon warehouse in there. There's so many boxes and there's so much stuff. Just absolutely incredible. So this isn't, they're delivering hot meals to people, but they're also giving diapers to babies and giving food to the pets and things like that. So this is one of those incredible organizations that's just doing everything they can, boots on the ground. They're not one of these big names that you know so well that actually they keep 90% of the money for themselves and they magically get paid out to the staff and to the board and things like that. No, it's not that. They are actually flying and landing in these devastated zones, and they are dropping stuff for people that actually need it. They're actually working. Imagine that. Charities that are actually willing to get their hands dirty and their feet muddy doing real stuff. These are truly the greatest heroes of the world. These are the best people. They're the best, period. The best people that the world has to offer. That's these people. And that is all of you for donating to them. So thank you. Again, the gardening community, this is just more undeniable proof that the gardening community is the greatest community in the entire world. These are just the best people. You are all the best. Rachel Lincoln, can you let us know the total dollar reached in your next video? I can do better. If you just go back to this live stream, it keeps the amount of money up. So you can actually see how much money was donated. So you don't have to hear it from me. You can see it. Eventually, I did run ads on this because I intend to take the revenue from the ads, whatever it'll be. It might be, I don't know, a couple $100. Whatever it is, I intend to give that to another charity. So I know that Samaritan's Purse is out of Boone, North Carolina. So they are right in one of the most hardest hit areas. I've heard nothing but wonderful things about them. So I will probably take whatever proceeds I get in terms of ad revenue from the stream and donate it directly to them. I could not choose them as a charity because they are not eligible for a fundraiser on YouTube. I don't know why. They don't give a reason, but I couldn't do it. So these people, Operation Airdrop, are just as incredible. So, hey, every dollar going to them is money well spent. And then, like I said, whatever ad revenue I get, I will donate it to Samaritan's Purse, and then I will make a community post where I share the image. So whatever it is, we'll do that, and I'll share it with you all. So keep an eye on my community page. Holy crap, we broke $4,000. Yes! Oh, you guys are amazing. Thank you all so much. I've missed like 20 minutes of the live watching ads. I'm sorry. I don't, I picked whatever was the YouTube recommended frequency. I can't control where the ads go. It's auto generated. So sorry, but just know that you watching those ads means more money for Samaritan's Purse. So I will give that funding to them. And like I said, I'll post the image so you can see I actually did it and I kept my word. So I hope to be able to do that. Usually it takes a couple of days for the statistics for the video to come in, and I find how much the video raised. So hopefully by next week, I'll be able to know what that number is, and I will give that number over to Samaritan's Purse. And like I said, I'll post a picture of the donation when it's made. Answer Laura Stoney's question. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. Laura, where are you? Why? I'm looking. Oh, okay. Is it true a Meyer lemon could take 90 days to ripen? I can tell you that my Meyer lemon sets fruit it starts setting fruit probably in May. It flowers profusely in April and May. It sets fruit probably in late May to June. You get the little tiny lemons on it in late May and June. And my Meyer lemons are nowhere near ripe yet. So I usually pick my Meyers in January. So I would think 90 days, there's no way you're getting a ripe Meyer lemon in 90 days. If you're talking about from the time the flower actually gets pollinated and you get that itty bitty pinhead baby lemon. From then, it's probably more like 6 months. Meyer lemons are actually a natural hybrid. They were a wild find growing by Dr. Meyer, the explorer, found the original Meyer lemon growing in the wilds of China. And they believe it is a cross between a true lemon and a satsuma, which is a mandarin orange. So if you actually let a Meyer lemon get overripe, the skin breaks right off like a satsuma. You can stick your thumbs in, it pops off, and the fruit is segmented. So you can see it actually has a healthy orange lineage. So because they are so large, they just take a really long time to ripen. They are not an early lemon. So if you are growing a Meyer lemon in ground like I am, it's not going to be ripe until probably January. At least that's what it is for me. $150. Oh my goodness gracious. $4,200. $4,210 out of $5,000. You guys have exceeded my wildest expectations. I don't even know what to say. Oh my goodness gracious. Blue Wolf. I pay for YouTube, so I don't have to see the ads. The good news is, for videos like this, if you're a YouTube Premium subscriber, YouTube gives you like a stipend. I don't know what it is. It's like a random amount. But you watching as a YouTube Premium subscriber will still contribute to the revenue of the video. So you simply being here will add some amount of money to whatever the total will be. It might only be a couple hundred, I only expect this video to raise a couple $100, but hey, that's a couple $100 more that we can donate to a charity and help the people affected by this storm. Okay. Andrew Landy, thank you for watching this video. Thank you to everyone for tuning into this live stream. Thank you to everyone that donated. Even if you didn't donate and you don't have the means to donate, just you being here and dealing with the nuisance ads, you're contributing to whatever revenue this video is going to generate that we will then turn around and make a donation with. So even if you can't afford to donate, just know that by you being here and simply being forced to watch those annoying ads, money is going to go to the people that need it. Darcinda, now you have to stay on till 5,000. I do have to eat at some point tonight. I do have to go to work tomorrow. I mean, if anybody here has been watching and you haven't donated yet, please consider donating. It would be nice to go on one more big run. What if I get Dale back in here? Can I make one more Dale appearance for a couple of bucks? I keep taking advantage of my boy. Dale! Come here, Dale. I need you one more time, buddy. Come on, buddy. I need to take advantage of your good looks and charm. Come here. These are two things I don't have, buddy. That's why we have you. Come here, Dale. No, come here. Don't leave. Come here, Dale. I'll give you a treat later. I'll give you. Come on, come here. Come, Dale. Come. He knows I don't have a treat. Oh well. Do you have a treat, Britt, that you can throw me?
No. But he's putting on his bandana, so he looks even cuter.
Oh, he's got his bandana on. Here he comes. Come here. Come on up. Come here. Yeah, up. Oh, he's got his bandana on. Oh, he's so handsome. He's the handsomest boy in all the land. All right. He's tired of my games. Dollars for Dale. Dollars for Dale. Who plays the piano? I used to play the piano. I took piano lessons from 7 years old, and I went all the way through high school. I actually used to play the piano for my high school choir. So there was a time where I was really good at playing it. Since I moved to North Carolina, I kind of haven't played it anymore. So I probably have absolutely no skill left. I'm sure I could pick it up again if I made a big effort, but I just haven't had the time. It's terrible to say. So I've let whatever talent I have go dormant and squandered it all those years, unfortunately. But one of these days, I'm telling you, I'm going to be able to do this gardening thing full time. It's going to work. And when that happens, I'll have free time to start playing the piano again. At least that's the dream. Dale is a good boy. He is a great boy. He's the best boy. Anybody that can put up with me every day is pretty special. Too busy growing figs. I'm growing so much stuff now. Sometimes I even neglect my figs. Yes, Rachel. Yes, if that is what it takes to raise money for the victims of Hurricane Helene, we will pimp out Dale for dollars. I should have called this fundraiser "Dollars for Dale." That's what I should have called it. JST Country Girl, what is your absolute number one fig to eat? To eat or to grow? If I could only grow one, if I only had room for one fig tree, I would grow a Smith. Smith is, in my opinion, the best overall fig in terms of earliness, humidity and rainfall tolerance, overall flavor. It's just a great fig overall. It's probably the best all-around fig I've ever seen. In terms of assuming I had a perfect climate and any fig would grow here and ripen perfectly, it would be probably either Italian 258 or Col de Dame Blanc, leaning towards Italian 258. If I lived in, Modesto, California, where the weather's perfect for figs, and I could only grow one fig tree, I would grow Italian 258. Here where I live, where we get rain, it would be Smith. Best flavor is subjective, so I can only give you what I think is the best flavor. And for me, I think that's Italian 258. Best texture would be Col de Dame Blanc. Best performer would be Smith. So that's my opinion. KBRCE, are you still fertilizing your figs now? I have not fertilized any of my figs in probably a month. Once August winds down, I stop. There's enough. My soil is plenty fertile, so the in-ground trees, I don't need to give them anything. My container figs at this point, they'll be okay. They're already dropping their leaves covered in rust. They're heading into dormancy, so they don't really need all that much any more food, really. When I store them for the winter, you might want to give them like a little handful of an organic fertilizer. I'm talking about like a really small amount. Just because they do need some nutrients throughout the winter. But for all intents and purposes, I'm probably done fertilizing my figs for the year. Amazon has no Smith fig trees. I generally direct everybody that wants a fig tree over to the website figbid.com. You can pretty much find any fig you want there. But I think Smith has become so ubiquitous. I think you could probably buy one off of like One Green World. They have a pretty good fig selection, or maybe just Fruits and Exotics. Living Samsara, why did my baby satsumas abort in June? I got the young tree in the ground in fall 2023. Okay, so your tree tried fruiting, tried flowering 9 months after you put it in the ground. Citrus will naturally go through a self-thinning cycle, but if it dropped everything, it is because the tree believes it has not put down enough roots. in order to be confident enough to handle fruit. So generally, the rule of thumb for growing trees, the old nursery rhyme is the first year they sleep, the second year they creep, the third year they leap. So basically, year one, a tree that's planted in ground should do next to nothing because it's trying to establish and have the roots grow hold. The second year is the big root development year with some upward growth. Year three is usually where fruit trees finally get to the point where they feel well anchored enough and they have a strong enough root system for them to grow up. So don't forget, fruit trees don't, or any tree, trees don't just grow up, they grow down too. So just because the tree isn't growing up doesn't mean they aren't growing down underground. And you can't build a house before you build a foundation. So generally speaking, your first 2 years of planting a tree, there's not going to be a lot of upward momentum. Year three is when you usually see the upward momentum. And depending on the species and the cultivar, you may get some significant flowering. But I don't really see significant, like real deal production on a fruit tree until year 3 or 4 if you got a grafted one. If you're growing something from seed, it's really not going to do squat for 5 to 10 years, depending on the genetics that you get of the seed. Oh, I love you, Dale. We love Dale. He is the best boy. Would I be able, JST Country Girl, would I be able to grow an Italian 258 in zone 9A? Yeah, absolutely. It's going to struggle if you live in a hot, humid 9A with rainfall, but it struggles here in zone 8. So, yeah, you absolutely can. I mean, you can grow an Italian 258 in ground in zone 7 or warmer. It'll probably be a long enough growing season for you to be able to get fruit off of it, as long as you're in zone 7, probably 7B or warmer. But it's just a question of how much fruit you get because they are very susceptible to rainfall. Oh, Raul, thank you so much for the $100 donation. That is just incredible. We're at 44.46. That is absolutely incredible. Almost to 4,500. We are so close, folks. I honestly can't believe that we've gotten this close to the goal. I say that, I can believe it. I can believe it that the gardening community would step up like this. I absolutely can believe it. Sonia Mohill's question, how do we know if a newly planted fruit tree has started adjusting? So what you need to do when you plant a fruit tree, if you plant a fruit tree and you don't see a whole lot of upward growth and you can't tell if it's establishing, what you can always do is take your thumb and scrape away just a little bit of the bark. If you see green underneath that bark, that means that the tree is alive and it's doing its thing. As long as you see that green, just leave it alone. Anything you do is probably just going to mess it up and throw it off and make it take even longer. So if the tree isn't growing up and you think it's just sitting there doing nothing, but you scrape away that bark and you see green, you have a living tree and it's probably growing down. It's putting down roots and it feels like it's a lot of trees that they wait until they feel well anchored enough to grow up, as they should. That should be the natural order of things. Stacy Tabor, thank you so much for your $20 donation. That is incredible. Thank you. We are so close to $4,500. We're so close. Can we get there, folks? If you haven't donated yet, could you make any kind of donation? $1, $5. It doesn't have to be a big donation. Whatever you can afford. The funds are going right to relief for Hurricane Helene. They're going to Operation Airdrop. I'm going to hit this one more time before I sign off. If you've joined the live stream late and you haven't yet heard me talk about Operation Airdrop, just copy and paste the link that I placed in the chat right now. It's an article about what they have donated, well, what they have actually delivered thus far as of, the article was written yesterday, so this is probably at least 48 hours old. As of 48 hours ago, they've delivered 300,000 pounds of supplies to the area affected by Hurricane Helene. And this just isn't, it's more than just food. It's diapers for babies. It's dog food. It's cat food. It's stuff that everybody needs. It's toilet paper. If you haven't gone to that link yet, I really recommend you look at it just to wow yourself and know that if you gave any money to this fundraiser at all, know that this is going to a truly worthy cause, a real organization that's boots on the ground, saving lives and delivering supplies, not some giant billion-dollar bloated bureaucracy that keeps 90% of the funds for themselves and pays it out to the shareholders. No, it's not like that. These people are actually there getting their boots and hands dirty, delivering the stuff to the people that need it. Charles Foster, why no mulberry trees? We actually talked about this a couple of times in the beginning. So number one, I've never had a mulberry. I've always assumed they're just like a blackberry or something. But mulberry trees get big and they tend to be very messy. And since I have a small suburban yard and I don't want to deal with the mess, I haven't wanted to plant one, especially since I've never had the fruit and I haven't developed the fondness for it because of it. Eventually, when the day comes and I move down to Florida to my 3 acres there, you absolutely bet that I will then have a mulberry tree because I'll be able to plant it somewhere where the mess won't be an issue. So the whole messiness and the large size is kind of a turnoff for me for something that I've never personally tasted. Thank you, Anonymous and Anonymous. Another 23 bucks. That's incredible. How close are we? Oh, $44.90. Can we get another $10? Ban everything. That's, if you like mulberries, that sounds like a good problem to have. Can we get 10 more? Did we hit it? Did we hit 4,500? I feel like we're so close. Oh my goodness, 45.80. We just went way over. Wow. Thank you. Jay Lockamy, thank you so much. And for the 3 new anonymous donors, thank you so much. We just hit $4,600. That is amazing. Oh, you are all so incredible. Wow, $4,605. We broke the 4,600 mark. I just pulled a number out of thin air when I selected $5,000. I thought it was a lofty goal, but I want to say I'm surprised, but I'm not, because after all these years, I know the gardening community. I know I've gotten to know, at least through comments, so many of you who have supported me over the years. And, you know, this is real good people. The gardening community is good people. There's just something, you know, there's just something special about people into gardening, because people that are into gardening are just naturally, I think, people that are into self-reliance and sharing. And, you know, number one, you can't take care of anybody until you take care of yourself first. You know, that's why you put the oxygen mask on you first on the airplane, right? So taking care of yourself has to be priority number one, but there's nobody more generous than the gardener, because, you know, they're always sharing their stuff with everybody else, and sharing is caring. So there's just something very special about you all, and I love you all. You've all done so much for me, and you've all done so much for the people that are in dire straits right now. So thank you. Another $50 anonymous donation. Thank you so much. $46.55. Alexis Archer, I want to stay on. I really want to reach that goal. It's 9:12 and I haven't started cooking dinner yet, and I have to go to work tomorrow. So I am in. I'm going to be in dire straits, but you know what? Maybe I should stop complaining, because I have running water and a roof over my head. So maybe I'm maybe I'm being a little too selfish. I would very much love time to play the piano for a minute. I I wish I still could. It's been so long. Thank you for the sentiment, Brenda. You've already all done so much. I guess I'm gonna give one last push. We are, what is that? $345 away from our goal of $5,000. We are so close. We are well over 90% of the way there. We're at 4680. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you for the donation. It is so greatly appreciated. I'll hit this one more time. So that obviously you all know. Oh my goodness, $100. Oh my God, you're all just absolutely incredible. Another $50. Oh my goodness, we're $220. Okay, we're $170 away from the goal. I'm at a loss for words. I don't even know what to say right now. Like I said, I'll give this one more last second. Thank you so much, Steady Life. Thank you. I'm going to paste the link one more time in case you just joined the live stream. Operation Airdrop, $100. This is really uplifting. This is absolutely incredible. We're at $49.50. We're at $4,950. Like I said, I want to say I'm surprised. I thought I picked a lofty goal of $5,000, but like I said, I've been doing this for so long now that I know who you people are. I know who you people are that watch these videos. I know what you're interested in. And you're just the best people in the world. Best people in the world. The most generous, and there is nothing, first of all, there's nothing more generous than a self-reliant person that wants to take care of themselves, because if you can take care of themselves, that's there's one less problem that everybody else has to worry about. But then I know that all of you already go above and beyond, because I know if you're like me, you're growing way more than you need. So this is all about sharing, caring, and taking care of others, as well as taking care of ourselves. And those are just the best people on earth. And that's you. Another $20. Mix. Thank you. Thank you for the donation. Anonymous, another $20. We're at $49.90. We're $10 away. $10 away from hitting what I thought was an insane goal. But hey, what can I say? You guys impress me every single day. There we go. $10. $100. Oh my goodness gracious. Rachel, 5130. Well, folks, we have exceeded our goal, and I am just absolutely at a loss for words. Speed limit reviews. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much for your contributions. It's so appreciated. The money is going to a wonderful organization. These people are in dire straits. If you weren't able to make a donation, if you can't afford to make a donation, that's fine. Don't feel bad. Just know that by you tuning in, this is generating advertisement revenue, which I'm then going to take and I'm going to donate to another charity, Samaritan's Purse. So just by you being here, that's all you needed to do. Just show up. And I thank you so much for it. If you haven't done so yet, please make sure that you hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button, because the more times you hit the like, the more YouTube sends it to other people. And although I'm going to end the live stream in a minute, people will still keep seeing this in their feed, and they will be able to keep donating up until the end of the day tomorrow. So people will still be able to donate. So if you just simply hit the like button, more people will see this video, and that will be more opportunities to donate. So my goodness, 5235 out of 5,000. This is Nima. Yes, $5,000 in 2 hours. The power of community, especially the best community on the entire internet, the best community in the world. The gardening community is the neighbor community. Neighbors helping neighbors. And let's face it, if we've been watching the news, it seems like that's the most help that the people that have been affected are going to get. They have to help themselves. And it's wonderful. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like anybody else is going to do anything for them. And this Operation Airdrop, they are actually there, boots on the ground, hands in the dirt, delivering these supplies. They are actually doing something. And that's all we can ask for. So, like I said, this fundraiser closes tomorrow. I wanted to close it as rapidly as possible because the views are going to drop off on this video like an anvil. So after tomorrow, not a lot of people are going to watch it. So we need to close it out, and then hopefully YouTube will immediately pass it through to Operation Airdrop. And I'm sure that they will be incredibly grateful for this donation because, again, these are real boots on the ground people, really there, getting their hands dirty, doing what needs to be done. So God bless them. God bless you all. Thank you all so much for what you have done. It means so much to me. I know it means so much to the people affected. And I'm sure if the people that were affected by the storm were watching what was happening in this feed right now, they would be literally crying. So thank you so much. How is your bananas? I have 2 racks of bananas forming right now. Hopefully I'll be able to make I actually have to do that. Hopefully they will finish up before the frost. I have about another 30 to 40 days left in my growing season, and hopefully I'll be able to make a nice banana video to close out the growing season. So that being said, I went a little bit longer than I said I was going to, but that's because you guys have all gone above and beyond what you needed to do. So thank you all. At this point, I think I'm going to end the live stream, but just know you have touched the hearts of not just me, not just the people on the stream, but the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that have been affected. So thank you all so much for what you have done. You are all wonderful. And if you weren't able to make a donation right now, and say you're watching this on a TV, you can log on to your mobile phone, or you can go on your computer or your tablet or whatever, and you can make a donation up until tomorrow. So if you don't have time to do it now, understandable, get some rest, and then you can check this live stream out tomorrow and you can make a donation then. So thank you all so much. You all mean the world to me, and you're all amazing. Have a great night.